But I'm excited to share with you guys this morning. And I promise it's not going to be too long because I know we have visitors and I know we've already had a lot in. So don't worry, I don't have a 30-minute message planned. It's a 50-minute. No, I'm joking. Joking. It's shorter than that, don't worry. But I want to start it off by showing a picture. So I put it up there because you probably can't all see this. But this is an amazing painting that my wife Kimberly did, who's not with us this morning because my kids had a birthday party to go to. So church or birthday party, and the birthday party won for them, which is understandable. But she painted this, and this is of my hometown, Mobile, Alabama, in the USA. So that's where I'm from. This is the downtown area. It's an amazing painting that she did a long time ago. She'll probably get mad at me for showing it. But with this painting, although it's beautiful and it does a great job showing my downtown area from where I was born and raised, there's been times in my life this painting has caused me great sadness. And the reason it has caused me some sadness is because I'm far away from home. I'm in Australia. If you don't know, get like a globe, and it's like literally halfway around the world. I never thought I'd leave Mobile, Alabama. I thought I would live there, raise my kids there. My kids would play at Matthews Park, where I played baseball. They'd play for the Redskins, where I played gridiron. I had all mapped out. I wasn't going to travel. And some strange reason, I ended up here. And I love being here, but it's heartbreaking sometimes to miss out on home. Because I do have two homes. Australia is my home, but I still have a home back there. I have friends and I have family back there. So the first couple of years I was in Australia, when I was around 19 and, just had a little kid too, I was in tremendous heartbreak. And I can honestly say I was like a shell of a man. And a part of that reasoning I had was because to me, a heartbroken Christian equaled a bad Christian. So what I thought in my head is, if I was broken, that means I wasn't doing this God thing right. I shouldn't be broken if I'm a Christian, Everything should be good. I should be able to push through everything. I should find the joy in stuff. And I would beat myself up about it. And I wonder, has anyone else ever had a thought like this come in their head when you're in heartbreak? That you're doing something wrong. That if you just read your Bible more, if you just pray more, it should go away. You're not doing it right. So that's what I thought a lot in the first couple of years I was here. Oh, whoa, I hit the wrong button. Sorry, I gave my stuff away. But what I've discovered over the years is that a heartbroken Christian doesn't equal a bad Christian. So I want to make that clear from the start. I think sometimes there's this version of Christianity where everything's going to be all right. You give your life to Jesus, and then your life is rosy, and things just fall into place. And they do sometimes. But we're still going to have the rain. We're still going to have the times where stuff doesn't go right. Where I like to say, where poop hits the fan. I know that imagery in my head. I'm an imaginative person, so I imagine that. That wasn't good in my head. Good thing I didn't find a picture to show that. But, yeah, no one would have liked it. But a heartbroken Christian doesn't mean you're a broken Christian. And I think there's this beautiful psalm. It's my favorite psalm, and it's Psalm 88. Because we've been doing the heart of a psalmist, and I want to read this psalm with you. But before I get reading, I want to point out something that's kind of interesting. With this psalm in particular, the authorship of it is somewhat of a mystery. There's kind of an idea, but we don't know for sure. And I love that. Because to me, after I read this psalm, I feel like we all might have had moments that if we journal, we would have wrote down stuff like this in our journal. Or we would have thought stuff like this in our head. But it's not a psalm we often go to, but it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to read it with you now. And this is how it starts off. And I'm reading from the Message version because I just kind of like how he translated. I think he did a faithful translation. I think it's got some contemporary language that just makes it resonate for us in our here and now. And this is what it says. God, you're my last chance of the day. I spend the night on my knees before you. Put me on your salvation agenda. Take notes on the trouble I'm in. I've had my fill of trouble. I'm camped on the edge of hell. I'm written off as a lost cause. One more statistic, a hopeless case. Abandoned as already dead. One more body in a stack of corpse. And not so much as a gravestone. I'm a black hole in oblivion. You've dropped me into a bottomless pit. Suck me in a pitch black abyss. I'm battered, senseless by your rage. Relentlessly pounded by your waves of anger. You turned my friends against me, made me horrible to them. Is your faithful presence noticed in the corridors of hell? Are your marvelous wonders ever seen in the dark? Your righteous ways noticed in the land of no memory? I'm standing my ground, God, shouting for help. At my prayers every morning, on my knees each daybreak, why, God, do you turn a deaf ear? Why do you make yourself scarce? For as long as I remember, I've been hurting. I've taken the worst you can hand out, and I've had it. Your wildfire anger has blazed through my life. I'm bleeding black and blue. You've attacked me fiercely from every side, raining down blows till I'm nearly dead. You made lover and neighbor alike dump me. The only friend I have left is darkness. So that's a psalm. And before you call someone to say, oh, I think there's something going on with my pastor, we need to get him some help, I want to point out why this is my favorite psalm. Because it shows us that God is with us in times of heartbreak. You have a psalmist here being raw and authentic with the stuff that he's going through, the feelings that he's having. He's not just Christianizing it. He's not hiding it like it's all going to be okay. He's being raw. And we've all had those moments. I mean, I don't know. When I read I'm in a black oblivion, man, I've been in some black oblivion sometimes. Like that wording just resonates with me. And I think it's awesome because this psalm shows me these moments don't scare them away or mean we are a bad Christian. God's still with us in these moments. He doesn't get scared by it. If we come with all our problems, if we're struggling with something and we're having a dark time, he's not like, oh, I'm going to leave that for a bit. Matt, you have fun. I'll come back when you're in a good mood. God doesn't do that. And he doesn't beat us on the head either and say, oh, you need to snap out of it. What are you thinking? Because God doesn't abandon us in those dark moments. He's with us. When I was a shell of a man at 19, I don't even think I could say I was a man at 19. I was still a kid, let's be honest. God was still with me. He didn't abandon me. He didn't leave me. Because this verse shows me something that really helps me in the dark times. It shows me that a heartbroken Christian equals an authentic Christian. So if we're heartbroken, it's okay. We don't have to hide it in the dark times. We don't have to pretend it's not there. Yeah, Jesus and God is with us, and that's all great. But we can be honest with where we're at. And we can be authentic because God desires our whole heart. So I think this means we have to do something. Let's run towards God and be vulnerable. Because it is key for an intimate relationship to flourish. And God wants an intimate relationship with each one of us. I believe that to my core. It's why I do what I do. And for any intimate relationship to go well, there has to be authenticity and a little bit of vulnerability. And I'm not perfect at it, so I'm going to throw it out there. If Kim was here, she'd probably be like taking a picture of that. And I'm sure the next time when I'm like trying to be tough and not cry around her, she'd be like, remember what you said on stage? So I'm not perfect at it. I'm trying to get better. But if we want this intimate relationship with God, we're going to have to be vulnerable. We're going to have to know that he's not going to abandon us if we let it all out, if things aren't going well and we're struggling. Because he really wants an intimate relationship with us. So we can be vulnerable. We can be authentic in the times when it's hard. So this painting here hangs in my office. Some days I look at it and I'm filled with joy. Some days I look at it and I get a bit homesick. Because I've had friends who have stood by me through some of the darkest times in my life who haven't got to see me on the other end. I have a tattoo on the back of my calf that says big for my best mate, Big Matt. Because I was little Matt, so he got big and I got little, so we're always together. You know, it was really heartwarming and romantic when we got a tattoo together. But he just had a kid. And you know what? After the day he had the kid and I found it out, I think when I was at work, I looked at that painting and I was a bit homesick because he's still in Mobile. And I let God know I was a bit upset about that. And God didn't leave me. He was there with me. So I want to let you in on a secret. As Christians, we're not meant to avoid any heartbreak. Being a Christian doesn't mean God's going to shield you from ever having something hard happen in your life. Heartbreak will come and we may get broken for a time. There may be stuff that happens that just breaks us and we got to work through, and God helps us on that. And that's okay. So don't beat yourself up like I did when I was first in Australia. When I thought I wasn't a good Christian because I was still upset about not being at home. Just be vulnerable with God and give God everything. Because that's what God really wants. He wants all that we have. And this whole series, the heart of a psalmist, I think it can be summed up that way. If you read the Psalms, it's these, well, they're more like poems than anything else. You could probably sing half of them, can't you? But they're authentic and they're real. That's why we can read the Psalms and we feel like we're reading something that we would have wrote down. Because you have all these people being authentic with God, and that's what the heart of a psalmist really is. It's just being authentic and giving God everything. Even when I'm in that moment of despair, I don't have to say, oh, that's unchristian of me to say it to God. No, it's in our Bible. Read Psalm 88. There's no happy ending. The psalm ends with the psalmist saying, my only friend is darkness. Whoa. Someone needs to give that guy a hug. But that's how it ends, because that's what he felt. That's what he was going through. And God doesn't abandon us in those times. He's with us. So I want to encourage you with that. And maybe you'll fall in love with this psalm and be a weirdo like me when people ask you your favorite psalm, and you'll say Psalm 88, and then they go read it and think, they might need to call the hospital. But, you can tell them a little bit about the why. But the heart of a psalmist just means we're giving God everything.